This channel is made possible by viewers like you. My viewers, subscribers, and patrons greatly help to keep this channel going. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for all of you. Please make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any uploads. And if you'd like to go the extra mile, please check out my Patreon page. For just $1 a month, you'll get access to what I'm working on, previews of upcoming content, and even early videos, along with other tier options for those that are interested. Thank you, and now on to the video. So it was getting thrown around Twitter that apparently Sony is working on a remaster for Horizon Zero Dawn. This is the perfect example as to many of the big reasons why I'm generally losing interest in Sony this generation. So if this is all true, and it looks legit enough from here, but here we have a potential remaster for a game that came out in early 2017 for the PS4. You can still play this game today on the PS5, and it actually runs with a better frame rate. This game isn't even old, it plays like many modern games, along with looking very modern itself too. What is the point in taking resources and time for this remaster? Stuff like this feels like Sony is just trying to milk their audience. Plus, if you want to add on another factor, this remaster is being released for both PS5 and PC. Yes, the game was ported to PC, and you can play it and enjoy visuals and frame rates that you don't even get on the PS5 right now. So how is Sony going to better this game for those PC players? It feels like a giant waste of time. A waste of time for the players, a waste of time for the developers, and a waste of resources that could have been used for another potentially more interesting project. Look, I even enjoyed Horizon when it first came out, but I'll admit that it has been a game that I found myself liking less and less as time went on. And here we have a remaster that makes me wonder that I have no idea what Sony is actually doing over there. I do want to ask this question. Will this be a situation where it is remastered like, say, the first Spider-Man game from the PS4? You know, the good one. If you own the original game, you could pay a fee and then have access to the remastered version. With that, you got the worst version of Peter's face and a better frame rate, among other things. But for Horizon, are they going to charge for this? Because it would appear that there is history here for charging for such things. The Last of Us 1, you know, the good one, got that PS5 remake or remaster or whatever they want to call it, which was completely unnecessary since the PS4 version still looks good and plays great. But for that remaster, remake, or whatever, it was the price of a full game with no possible upgrade path or anything like that. So I ask again, how will Sony approach this for Horizon 1? At the same time, you have a game that you can play right now, Horizon 1 at 60 FPS on your PS5. What are they going to add to make someone want to upgrade? Or even worse, buy the game completely brand new again? Stuff like this and The Last of Us PS5 remake is where it makes players think that Sony is creatively bankrupt, instead of taking that talent, resources, and time, and putting that into another project or even a set of smaller projects to really diversify your offerings to the player. Here we have a set of games that are in some sort of weird time loop, where Sony seems to have forgotten its rich history of games to draw from. Now sure, some of you might enjoy some of these modern re-releases. I personally haven't cared for a lot of the new stuff that Sony has been pushing. Honestly, Astrobot is more what I've been talking about. This is the type of stuff that Sony should be trying to offer more and more, and less of Sad of War and those other games. I want to bring this back to another point and clarify something too. I am not against remasters. Generally, I honestly like them. And by remaster, I mean providing the same game again, with some slight enhancements like improving the frame rate, stability, maybe even adding in some extras. Stuff like that. You know, when we were seeing a bunch of them on the PS3, like with Sly Cooper, Jack, God of War, among a lot of others. Generally, I don't want remakes unless it's something like a visual remake like the Medieval one that was made a few years ago. Great game too. I do think that there is space for remasters, especially for games that could benefit from having a nice collection set, or a game stuck on an older set of consoles, and can use a bit of a resolution or frame rate improvement. If I had any power at Sony, I would want to make some remasters for their games. I wouldn't be looking to PS4 titles that look, play, and run natively well on the PS5 now. I would be looking to titles that deserve to be brought back. For example, on the PS4, I love that Bluepoint was able to make the Uncharted trilogy remastered set. We got all 3 campaigns in one spot with better frame rate options. I love it and still play it today, but there were other games that we could still use for remasters for. Where's the one for the Infamous titles that are essentially stranded on the PS3? I love these games, and the very first Infamous is one of my favorites. They still play great, have a lot of style, and the gameplay is like a shooter with cool powers. Then you dig back a bit more, and if I was Sony, I would have a Resistance collection set, and for one, bring back the multiplayer too. I was a big fan of 1 and 3 and really enjoyed the campaigns. Bringing some more attention to these quality Sony shooters would be worth everyone's time. What about going back even further and more obscure, like Heavenly Sword, an action-adventure title where you play a hot redhead? This was one of my first PS3 games, and I still view it highly to this day. Even just sticking with the PS3 generation, you have so many great titles that do deserve another chance to get recognized again, or even allow for more modern players to check these games out. Bring back Starhawk, that was another awesome title, lots of modes and a beautiful soundtrack. Most of this stuff is just me thinking off the top of my head. If Sony was to remaster stuff, this is where I would start, not with Horizon Zero Dawn. Look, when it comes to Sony, my only real praise that I have for them is that Astrobot got made. I still want to play it and it looks great. And they have also been adding a lot to their classic games catalog. I really like seeing more PS2 games coming back like Sly Cooper, Tomb Raider Legend, and the Time Splitters trilogy along with a lot more. But when it comes to all their other stuff that Sony is doing, it just pushes me away from what they are honestly trying to do and honestly makes me want to become more of a PC gamer. They have this money, time, and developers for this Horizon Zero Dawn remaster, and while I am just one voice, I think all of this could be better used for other projects. If you want to provide remasters to us, then bring back games that are stranded on some of your older consoles. I think many would kill for a chance to play Champions of Norath again. Who doesn't love a good classic ARPG? I'd eat that up and have a great time with it. Or if Sony wants to go the extra mile, then do more visual remakes like the one with Medieval. It was the same game as the PS1 game, but with a really nice coat of paint. Shows that games like that have aged like fine wine with its gameplay. And as an extra, you got the original PS1 version with it too. On the other side of things, Sony would maybe focus on trying to bring back older franchises with new sequels. Yes, it is a given that I would love to see new properties as well, that go for more gaminess like say Astrobot over the photorealism nonsense that they like to do. But if they want to do sequels, where is a Resistance sequel? Where is a new Killzone? Where is a new SOCOM? Sony was so focused on live service type of stuff, I feel like they missed a giant opportunity to not do any of that with a SOCOM title. It feels like the people at Sony are trying very narrowly when it comes to their decisions, where I think they could benefit from trying to invest in other smaller and mid-tier projects. How about a new Siphon Filter that is single player focused, released at say $30 or $40? Keep it in line with maybe the other PS1 games mechanically. And stuff like this really helps to bolster up what games you can offer to your players. Or maybe you try to find the next Housemarque, like how they used to be during the PS4 generation. Hey Sony, you still have Alienation locked on the PS4 with no PC release, or even given it a remastered patch to have it run better on the PS5. Maybe you can bring this delightfully underrated gem back into our hands as well. It might seem like I am rambling towards the end of this video, and I am a bit, but my point with this is that Sony could do a lot better. They should do better and provide more to their player base. Giving us Horizon again, this is not what we want. We want new and interesting IPs, or even fun ways to enjoy games from our past. What are your thoughts on a potential Horizon Zero Dawn remaster for the PS5 and PC? Are you interested in this? Would you prefer Sony spend more of their time on other projects? If so, what should those be? Let me know all of this in the comments down below. If you're interested in supporting the channel, please check out my Patreon page. For just $1 a month, you can help to keep this channel going strong, and this allows me to be able to do more for my awesome audience. Please check out the links in the description and pinned comment for ways to support the channel. And most of all, thank you very much for watching.